And welcome to another edition of It's All About the Youth. I am your host, Aaron Sutton, and we want to welcome you to a phenomenal show, man. If you missed last week, you can log on to lysntv.com and go on demand and check out Does God Really Care About Football? Man, last week's show was off the chain. My pops was on the show. We got into a deep discussion, man, about if the Super Bowl Sunday, if the Saints were playing, would you cancel church? My daddy said, no, as a typical traditional pastor would. And Pastor Eric Williams said, well, me and God would have to have a conversation about that because I might have to move it because, God loves the Saints too. I said, hey, man, it is what it is. I'll probably be at the Super Bowl. But anyway, this week we get into another great, phenomenal show. I have some phenomenal guests. These guests, man, I tell you, they're going to get deep into this subject. Mama, I made it. What does that mean? Mama, I made it. I'm always looking for my kid to be the greatest. I'm always looking at my son. He's going to cover the light bill, the water bill. We're going to get a big house. Really? What if he's only 5'5"? What if he's only 2 feet tall? What if he's only good at drawing? What if? We'll find out later in the show on It's All About the Youth. Stay tuned.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Dylan Evans running back.
For guys like Dylan.
Yeah, baby.
Let's light up the neighborhood.
Do you need to say great job, congratulations, or way to go? Crown Trophy on Sherwood Forest Boulevard in Baton Rouge has the trophy, plaque, acrylic, or crystal award you're looking for. Whether it's for your team, business, or church, come to Crown Trophy. We guarantee the highest level of customer service, and there's no charge for rush orders or trophy engraving. We're nationally known and locally owned. Visit us online to view our catalog at www.crowntrophy.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Zawalski Moss, quarterback.
For guys like Zawalski. Let's light up the neighborhood.
At Roadrunner Towing, we love our God, our children, our nation, and yes, our sports. So let's play ball. Score big when you need a tow, either in East Baton Rouge or West Baton Rouge. Because at Roadrunner Towing, we don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Caleb Derensburg, center.
For guys like Caleb. Let's light up the neighborhood.
I see a lot of new faces here. Who wants to go first?
I bet the farm on my son playing in the NBA. Literally, I took out a second mortgage on the family farm to pay for basketball camps.
Our Daniel could have played in the NHL.
What is Daniel doing now?
David doesn't like to speak about it.
My son is an astronaut.
Bailey tells me that she doesn't want to play soccer anymore after all the years I put in.
How old is Bailey now?
Going on 7. Why?
And we're back live on It's All About the Youth. I am your host, Aaron Sutton. Man, I tell you what, this show is going to be awesome. Look what look at this. These lovely ladies are here with me today. I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, but the show today is Mama, I Made It. We made it. Can you believe it? Us is on the hill. Us that made it. No, we're on the hill. I know that's not proper English, but you know, it's just something we say. People say it all the time. Us that made it. You know, but we want to get into this show, man. It's going to be phenomenal, like I said. And I'll start off by let my guests introduce themselves. We'll start off to my left.
My name is Tamika Murray. I have 3 student athletes. I work in the community. I work with special needs adults and children. And I also have my own company that I help educate parents and student athletes about Clearinghouse NCAA rules and regulations.
Good deal. We also have Miss
Kimberly Haynes. I'm CEO and founder of Omni Group LLC. We are a business, legal, and nonprofit consulting firm, specifically catering to athletes, entertainers, and executives.
Good deal.
A lawyer by trade.
I am Albion Brule. I am an author, 2 times author actually, sports agent, and athlete advocate.
Okay. And this show, the reason why this show is so fun, this is like a family reunion up here for me. You know, you see they're all kind of like, you know, serious and prim and proper. Hey, you guys are on my show today, man. So I need you to relax, and we're going to have a good conversation. These are 3 people I truly trust, and I've been trusted by these people to deliver information and, you know, just have a good conversation. And as we delve into this topic, you know, I like to say, you know, let's open a few Pandora's boxes to help some parents, to help some kids that may be making a decision coming up soon, or help a situation where there's a lot of gray area. How can we reassure them or shore it up for them with this process? First of all, I like to start off by saying it's a unique situation to have attorneys, agents, you know, a parent that's been in the situation all on one show. That's a unique situation, right? Yeah. So just get into it. Tell me something that you look for when you're dealing with people dealing with your child, whether it's you're a mother of 3. Right. What is one of the main things that you look for when someone's dealing with your kids?
The main thing would be integrity. I want someone to treat my children the same way that I would, if not better.
Okay.
So honesty, integrity, that's one of the first things that I look for.
That's a key thing. Yeah. And also from your standpoint, when dealing with someone else's child, because they're not yours, and you're basically being, I guess, dependent upon to give sound advice. How hard is that sometimes when you have to make those tough decisions? I'll go with you.
It's extremely hard, you know, because sometimes I always tell parents, this is your first time going through this. For me, it's, you know, I constantly go through it vicariously through my clients or individuals that I'm mentoring, and so it's not my first rodeo. And so sometimes when people haven't had a certain experience, it's hard for them to receive certain information. So sometimes you have to love them through their valleys, or you have to allow them to make certain mistakes, and it's very, very hard to watch sometimes.
But Kim, my baby is gonna make it. We're going D1, Division I football. We're going to a Power 5 school. All of these things, we don't make it there.
Right.
These are the opportunities that how tough is that to deal with a parent when you're telling them that, well, these are the opportunities that your kid. Have you ever faced that?
Yes, and so my first question is, what's your plan B, C, and D? So you have to have strategic plans of action outside of your initial plan of going into any league. And I work with clients in the NBA, MLB, WNBA, and NFL. So those conversations are very hard to have, but they're real conversations. So myself as a sports attorney and advocate, I have to have those real life conversations with some clients. And the good thing about it is I educate their parents about the process. So along the way, we're constantly letting them know, well, this is where your son or daughter is kind of landing, and you know, as far as the stats are looking. So let's look at plan B, C, D.
Looking into the big picture, the box, you're saying, you know, as the process begins, the process, the process. I'm 9, 10, 11, and I'm starting to hear this boy is going to play at the next level, meaning professionally. How do you feel about your child receiving that kind of recognition at that age?
Well, my child did receive that type of recognition at an early age, but initially it was scary. But we had a lot of conversations, a lot of open dialogue to where we talked about what it would be like to be at the next level. But most importantly, like Kimberly said, we had a plan B. And it was never to go to the NFL. It was always to get a free education. So once those standards are set, it makes it easier.
I understand we put a lot of emphasis on getting an education, but at the end of the day, a lot of parents, you guys have been in the sports agency arena. If I can be a one-and-done kid, what do you tell a parent if they're what do you tell a kid if they're one and done? If your son was an NBA player and he was able to be one and done and get drafted in a top 5 situation, would you agree with that?
It depends on the situation. And then, like I said, there has to be
I'm talking
plans.
bottom line.
For us, it's different because we had a plan. Dylan graduated early, so therefore with football, you have to do 3 years. Dylan graduated high school early, so therefore he's going to graduate in 3 years. So we don't have
you're
any.
referring to your son that plays football.
My oldest
right
son
now.
plays football right now for the University of Alabama.
Okay.
So there was a plan put in place for him to graduate early so that when that time frame came, we were ready for it already.
Looking to the future, you got 2 more sons. So what if one just decides he's going to play basketball and that one and done situation happens?
I think that Dylan sets the standard.
Okay.
You have to have a standard somewhere.
So the standard would be 3-year minimum?
Be if they do football.
Okay.
Now, I have 2 that are playing basketball as well.
Okay.
So for me, it's always to get an education. So I can't say, you know what, you're offered millions of dollars and I want you to get a college education.
It's a tough situation. I'm looking at Zion's mom.
Exactly.
Kim, how would you handle that?
So I have had clients who have gotten that one and done or who've done the 3 years and decided to declare for the drafts, but they go back to school.
Exactly.
So what I always advise them, do your, go ahead on, get drafted if you're high, and go back. Take advantage of the opportunity that the universities and colleges need to lend to you. So they do go back to school, and I'm very proud of that. So most of the clients who do leave early, they go back to school, and I'm a proponent of education.
Which also leads us into Ms. Avian talking about some literature that you've penned to give some instruction on the process. Going back, and could you share some of that?
Yeah, so my first book was it's called Dear Football Moms, and the purpose of that book is to teach mothers of student athletes how to navigate the recruiting world and eligibility. I don't know if you know, well, you guys know, but 70% of student athletes come from a single parent household. Right. And what we're finding is that most of those individuals are not educated on the process at all. And so they have a tendency of relying on the coaches to be responsible, or the counselors. And what I'm finding is that the coaches feel like it's the counselor's responsibility, the counselors feel like it's the parents' responsibility, and as a result, the student is suffering because no one's educating them or the parent on the process. So the purpose of the book is to educate them so that it now puts the responsibility and the knowledge in the parent to really be able to navigate with their child properly, because this business is gruesome if you're not informed. So that was the main purpose of the book, because the reality is according to the NCAA, 98% of the student athletes that play on that level will be a professional at something else, meaning that less than 2% actually make it to the professional realm of playing professional sports. So we have to do a better job of preparing these student athletes for life after the sport, and that's what we're not doing.
So you see a lot, and I'm glad you cleared that up, and you made a great point. We're talking about the percentages of people that will go on to be professionals and other things. But once again, when you get back to that topic of Mama I Made It, a lot of parents are living vicariously through their kids.
Absolutely.
I see three women here, 3 strong women here, right? 3 women who are compassionate and care about the foundation first, the foundation of education, the foundation of making sure that the parent is educated as well as the student athlete. But when you look at a mother who's struggling, who has to make decisions based on not 1, not 2, maybe 4 kids in a household, and so the pressure starts to come. The pressure of the situation starts to come, and the kid is looking at it, well, I have to go because this is going to change my mom's life, and my whole life I've always wanted to make my mom's life better. How do you deal with that when you're actually sitting in there, you're trying to give counsel, you know, with the kid?
Well, it depends on the situation. And so I always advise parents to make sure that you understand that whatever you do, you are an outskirt of your son or your daughter. You're an extension of them.
But a lot
So you
of
don't
it
want
is
to,
it's tough.
Yeah, it is, but you don't want to jeopardize their eligibility because you are struggling.
Right.
You have to look at the bigger picture. So they have to look at themselves as being extensions of their sons or daughters who have this great opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
So I call them predators, right? So you look at that predator approach, and then also, even if you're in a situation where you're trying to help, sometimes they put you guys in a box and say, oh, she's just a predator, or he's just a predator, trying to lead yourself to something that's successful. As a parent of how old was your son when he first received his first opportunity to go to
Dylan
college?
was 13.
13. I can only imagine being a parent of a 13-year-old getting a Power 5 Division I offer for your son to go to play collegiate ball.
Right.
13. His body hadn't even matured and developed all the way, even though he may look older, but he's still working on developing and things like that. So at 13, in your household, your phone starts to ring now, saying, we want to give your son an opportunity. Or you're at camps and people want to give your son an opportunity. How do you handle that? Now everybody wants to be your friend.
It's tough. You know, there was a lot. We had to keep our circle small. We had to make sure that we talked to Dylan a lot about what the expectation is, but we had to make sure that our expectation was first, not the public's expectation. So it was a lot of in-house conversations, but the stress level was on 10.
Right.
You know, because you have to make sure that he's living up to the expectation, even though you don't want to put that pressure on him. The pressure is already there.
Pressure's tough. What do you tell a kid that now the pressure of taking care of your household has been put on your back at 13?
Well,
For
we
me-
didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. What do you tell a kid?
We didn't talk about that. So for me,
It's unspoken though, kind of.
No, it's not. It's not unspoken because I look at it from a different perspective. The way that it happened with my son, with him being in college, he's surrounded around kids who have those pressures on him.
Yeah.
So I
you're
get to
unique,
hear.
You're in a
Exactly.
unique box based
Exactly.
on the fact that you're probably you're more educated to the whole landscape of how this process works through trial and error and learning,
Exactly.
or putting yourself around other people
Right,
that are
right.
intelligent that are able to make sure that you have a sounding board to feed off of. But what happens to that mom, you know, the mom from South Baton Rouge or the mom from the project that's in a situation like that?
I'll give you a story. I used to do a lot of going to Little League, Pee Wee ball games, and you would hear parents tell a 7-year-old, he's going to buy me a house one day. I've seen it, okay? And it's heartbreaking. But I had a parent whose child currently plays in SEC, and we've been friends since, he played, Pee Wee ball. Well, she has 3 other kids. And one day we were talking, and she was telling me all of her wonderful plans of when her son would make it. When he make it, we're going to do this. When he make it, we're going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. Well, it wasn't looking too good for him. So I asked her a real question. I said, well, you have 3 other kids. My question to you is, what are you going to do if he don't make it? And she sat there for a second, and her response to me was, she said, I never thought of that. No one ever asked me that. To this day, she's going to graduate with her son now. So they're going to graduate together. And I think the biggest problem is that we don't have the discussion. We're not explaining to parents the pressure that they're putting on our kids. That's why in my book, I also talk about mental health and the pressure that these young men are under. I had one kid commit himself to the psych ward that plays in SEC because of the pressure of him may not be, he can't handle it. I had 2 kids, literally almost have mental breakdowns. It's real because in their space or in their mind, their identity is so tied up into this sport that without it, I'm nothing. So in my second book, which I talk about, it's called Tips and Truths for Student Athletes, the #1 tip is how to find an identity outside of the sport. That is so crucial because when you don't do that, when that sport dies, to most student athletes, they die as well because that's all they know. That's the only thing that they have been attached to their identity. So we as leaders and individuals that are dealing with these young men and women, we have to start getting them to understand that you are so much more than this sport and that you were put on this planet to do much more than play ball. And so when we start doing that, you start empowering them, because you got to think about some of these kids, and most of these kids are coming from impoverished situations. They're not situations like this of educated parents. So they don't know that they can be a lawyer as well. They don't know that they can be a dentist as well. They don't understand that there's other opportunities outside in this space.
And it's tough. And I'm glad you make that point. When you look at the big picture right now, I watched the other day in the NBA draft. I watched a truly beautiful situation where I saw fathers and sons were, embracing each other. We saw some powerful movements going on during the NBA draft, because we saw daddies and they sons like, he had a daddy. He wasn't just, here with a single family parent household, a mama only. So you saw young men being raised by men.
Yeah.
I also saw during the free agency period of the NBA, I saw fathers that were agents, sports agents representing their children, getting max deals. Where are we in this climate? Where are we in the climate for the agency business? You got parents that are representing their children right now. How do you feel about that?
I love it.
Before we get into it, though, we'll be right back on LYSN TV. I want to come back and talk about it. I got to have some time, but I got to pay the bills. I'm sorry. We'll be back right here on LYSN TV.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide. For guys like these, let's light up the neighborhood.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
At Roadrunner Towing, we love our God, our children, our nation, and yes, our sports. So let's play ball. Score big when you need a tow, either in East Baton Rouge or West Baton Rouge. Because at Roadrunner Towing, we don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Dylan Evans running back.
For guys like Dylan.
Yeah, baby.
Let's light up the neighborhood.
Do you need to say great job, congratulations, or way to go? Crown Trophy on Sherwood Forest Boulevard in Baton Rouge has the trophy, plaque, acrylic, or crystal award you're looking for. Whether it's for your team, business, or church, come to Crown Trophy. We guarantee the highest level of customer service, and there's no charge for rush orders or trophy engraving. We're nationally known and locally owned. Visit us online to view our catalog at www.crowntrophy.com.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Zawalski Moss, quarterback.
For guys like Zawalski, let's light up the neighborhood.
LYSN TV. It's all about the youth, baby. It's all about the youth talk show. We had a great discussion going on a few minutes ago. We were talking about, man, parents are representing their children now, sports agents. Parents are going to take this test and say, you know what, I'm going to represent my own boy. I'm going to represent my family. I'm going to give my kid a max opportunity. I'm going to deal with this hands-on so I can make sure that I can help my child to control those decisions, to get away from those people that may be considered to be predators. Because we've seen in the past, well, where you've had sports agents to call themselves sports agents and financial advisors, and we've seen where they've been predators and taking advantage of athletes' opportunity. So tell me about your viewpoint on parents representing.
I love it. I think it needs to be more of it, because who will better protect your child than you? You know, the biggest thing or fear, what I find in this business, is that most people that's in this space try to convince the parent to stay in your lane.
Right.
You know, you still within the parent world.
Right.
No, and so I tell parents all the time, when you think about the journey of a student athlete, everyone makes money off the student athlete but the parent, and I
Right.
don't understand that.
So with that being said, Kim, I look at what she just said. Everybody makes money off the student athlete but the parent. How do you feel about a parent that says, you know what, I'm gonna write in this contract where I get XYZ percentage? You think that's fair?
I'm okay with it. I mean, because if the athlete is okay with it, I'm okay with it. And why not? I mean, I think it's all about, parents are becoming more educated now on
Right.
the process. And they're
Right.
seeing that, especially for the first contracts, they're slotted.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the opportunities are already there for the sons or daughters, and so why not have it stay in the family or
Right.
amongst people who they know genuinely have the interest of the student
Most
athlete?
parents feel like it's like YouTube. It's like I can YouTube and find out how to do this.
We're not talking about those kind of parents,
just
okay?
saying.
We're not talking
Hey,
about
wait a
those
minute.
kind of parents.
Wait a minute.
All right? Let me just put that out there.
I put the
No.
drive belt on the drive.
We're not-
A high tech.
Oh, my
I
God.
YouTube. I can do it. Some parents feel like
Yeah.
that.
We're
some
not-
parents
we're
feel
not
like
talking
I
about
can
that.
YouTube. I can watch LeBron special and I can figure out how to be a sports agent.
No, we're not talking
We
about
need
that.
them to be savvy about
Yeah.
it
Hey,
and
okay.
educated.
But think about this too, like somebody's gonna make that money.
Yeah.
And so why not, again, let's create generational wealth. That's why I love LeBron James and how he set up his friends.
It's so unique. So
Yeah.
you look at LeBron James' makeup of his family that's
Yeah.
around him.
Yeah.
The guy who handles his day-to-day business has been with him since he was a child. The guy who is a sports agent is his business partner. The guy who handles his shoe contract is his former teammate. He educated the people around him through trial and error, but they didn't always get it right.
Right.
They didn't always get it right. He says it. Man, we learned this together,
Yeah.
but we figured it out and we worked together as a team. What happens in a situation where mom doesn't get it right? Do you think mom should be fired the first time?
You think so?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so.
It's a
And
business.
I'm the mom.
What? I'm gonna let mom answer that one. I'm gonna
Yes,
let mom.
I think so. I mean, for me, I think it's a business. So everything should be handled business oriented.
Yeah.
So whether I'm the mom or not, I should be treated the same way that you would treat the person on the street, because this is business.
This
It's
business.
business.
How about you?
You know what? A good example was a parent had a question at our NFL draft luncheon just this year about business management, and is it okay for parents to be their son's business managers? So we had both sides of the coin. One parent said, yes, I was my son's. I did it by default. He's okay now. We're both living off of his, riches. One parent's like, nah, I stayed in my lane. I know exactly what I could do in my skill set. So I think it's a toss-up. But I think that if that parent goes in to that position, he or she needs to be fired just as if it was somebody from
So the
outside.
consequences are the
It's a
same.
business.
I think it should be, what are we really talking about here? Is it like a major mistake or is it something that's like small in terms of learning?
I mean, millions lost,
Yeah.
hundreds lost.
Now, yeah, on
A
that
loss
end,
is a loss.
yeah, but-
So what do you got? I mean, looking at that, when we're talking about the bottom line here.
I mean, for me, I wouldn't step into a position that I'm not fully equipped to handle. So
Okay.
that's why I said, if I mess up, fire me. Because
So
I'm
you
not
hold
gonna
yourself
take
to
on
the
it.
same standard that you
Exactly.
would hold
Because
an
I want
agent
him
or
to-
a
Yes.
business
And
manager.
I'm not going to ask to be the agent if I'm not agent material. If I don't know
Okay.
all the rules and regs to be an
Your
agent.
situation is different as well. You've educated yourself on the process, which is great. But some parents are out here and they feel like, you know what? I've been successful at owning grocery stores. I've been successful at owning dump truck companies. I can be successful at being an AAU coach for my son. Now I feel like I can be successful at being his agent. Do you deter that? Even if you've been a mentor, do you deter
It's a
it?
different world.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, because people always say, can you be a lawyer or not to be? You don't have to be, because I tell people all the time, like, we take a test, right? Lawyers have failed this test. So it doesn't equate to that. It's a different rule, is rules and regulations that govern, which is the CBA. So you have to learn that and understand that, because that is the rules that govern this world.
So Kim, you are an attorney and in the sports agency.
No, I'm not an agent. I'm a lawyer.
A
So
lawyer.
I help
Okay.
advise the
Okay. I just want to make, I want to make sure
so
we
there's a
clear that up.
difference.
Okay.
I'm not an agent.
So how do you feel about those worlds mixing? Those people who are lawyers and agents. Do you think that that's one up, or you think it's something that shouldn't be mixed?
For me, I think it would be one up.
Okay.
But I also feel that if you were an attorney who's an agent, you have a much higher standard, because ethically you're bound by your lawyer license. That's the first license you get.
Right.
And so I feel that lawyers who are agents typically should have the ethics should be a lot higher than a regular agent. Somebody just coming in, you know.
Because, I mean, in years past, people thought that in order to be an agent, you had to be an attorney.
Right.
Most people perceived that was it.
It's still that to an extent. Most people still think that.
Yeah, a lot of people are not educated on that process. So, I mean, if you wanted to be a sports agent tomorrow, you had the opportunity to go do that, would you do it?
For my son right now,
Sure.
no,
You wouldn't?
no.
Would you become one?
Yeah.
Are you aspiring to be one?
Possibly.
You said that like you're in the witness then, possibly. We're still on this all about the youth now. I just want to
I'm going
know.
to be honest with you. Right now, I would not try to represent my son.
Okay.
Because I feel that there's a lot at stake.
I didn't ask about
And
your son. I'm talking
so-
about you, period. Would you just go become
Well, if I'm going to be an agent, I'm representing my kids.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
why I
that's a
said my son.
possibility
Yeah.
then, huh?
So I would not try to represent my oldest son, because
Right.
right now I'm gathering information.
You're learning.
I'm learning.
Okay.
Now, when the other two come along, we don't have something.
It make it a little interesting then, huh?
Definitely. It may
So
get
mom may be in a different position, huh?
Definitely.
Okay, good
It's all
deal.
about learning.
It's all about learning. I love that, man. I go back to looking at the learning aspect of this thing, man. Tell me about some of the great things that you have going on in Baton Rouge now, Kim.
So I just moved back, and I'm
Congratulations.
excited.
Welcome back to the city. To
I'm
the
excited.
Big Raggedy.
I have been 20 years away from this city, and it's home.
Right.
So it's like you said, it's like family. Like I see all my people in the audience, so
Right.
I'm good.
Good
I'm
deal.
good. So we do have a lot of stuff that I want to bring to the community. I want to educate, empower, and encourage my parents, my student athletes. It's a lot of stuff that I want to bring back to Baton Rouge.
Definitely.
We're getting ready for our 2020 events. We do a Giving Gracefully Award during Super Bowl every year. So it's in Miami next year.
I don't mind. If you need me there.
I need you. I
just
need
let me-
you, man. I
I'm
need
there.
you.
You know I'm there.
Yes.
Miami, that's my place.
Yes, and then we do an NFL
I've been
draft
there. Well, I'm
luncheon.
Haitian.
Then during the NFL draft, we do a draft luncheon, and so the draft luncheon will be in Las Vegas next year. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna need you for that too.
Yeah, I'll be there too. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you have a school here.
We do. J.K.
Right.
Haynes Elementary Charter School.
J.K. Haynes in
Yes,
the building.
yes. It was my grandfather's his namesake, and we are 21 years in existence. We're one of 3 of the oldest charter schools in Louisiana.
Good deal.
And so we are small, independently run, family-run charter school, and we really pride ourselves on being a family. So so I'm gonna help out.
I'll be over there.
You better.
Call on me.
You better. Call
Go
on
over there. We
me.
can get some things going. And Ivy, man, tips. Tell me about this. Listen. So I read through it. You know, this I'm hard on it, right? I read through the little book. I was like,
Hard is an understatement.
I'm put this, I can use this doggone book. You know what I'm saying? I started working with my kids with the book. So tell me something about how is this helping kids in the community? How do you feel like this is going to be instrumental in helping?
One thing that is really helping, and I keep stressing the point of helping them find identity outside of the sport, because a lot of the kids that I talk to always tell me that no one ever had that conversation with them.
And you've been traveling a lot with
Yes.
it, and you have an opportunity to make it a part of a curriculum right now.
It's a
right?
curriculum. We're going to roll out into 2 districts, and then I just actually went to a school today, and the principal wants to roll it out come August.
Good deal.
East St. John. So that was a very, very graceful meeting, because the biggest thing is that, you know, it's hard to find principals who care about athletics.
Right.
So when you do find a principal that care, you embrace them. I was like, can I just hug you? Because, you know, a lot of times they separate the athletics from the academics, and truth be told, you can't, because some schools, the population of the school is your athletes is 40 to 50% of your population.
Or more.
You know?
Or more.
And-
And I like to say, you know, not cutting you off, but we call it student athletes. We say that a lot. But in my personal experience in life, I was an athletic student.
Oh,
Without athletics, I probably grades, I was going to do just enough. But because I wanted to excel as an athlete, I knew I had to become a better student. So I worked at that process, and I had to have both of them in order to get to the next level. So I always call myself an athletic student.
But
you know,
that's the
in my
truth,
process.
and that's the case in most cases, because even when you get to the collegiate realm, when you start talking to the student athletes that's there, they'll tell you, oh, you're coming here as a student athlete, but truth be told, they put football or the sport first. And so we have to start training our kids to understand that it's about education, because that's the bridge, right? And so what I always tell, you know, kids, and going back to the book, we talk about creating generational wealth, because in some of these kids, you know, spaces, they don't ever talk about buying insurance or buying property or the importance of credit and different things, or building their brand. So these are the topics that we talk about, you know, injuries and everything that they deal with as a student athlete and relates to the real world. And so the objective is to start getting, you know, really ADs and coaches to start understanding and creating a culture of academics.
To push
Yes.
that process, which give me back to mom here, you know, who's in a situation where she's creating a lot of athletic students. You know, so much so they're offering kids in the 7th and 8th grade. You know, I don't know how you did it, but you create some of the biggest children I've ever seen. Jesus Christ, she got some kids, some of the best genes.
Good genes. You gonna start selling? Some might buy too.
On sale. On sale.
On sale.
Let me be a part of the market.
All right.
So anyway,
I can be your lawyer.
I was going to promote it. No,
I went to the agency. I can be an agent.
So I look back, and like I said, at the process, we just talked about the educational component. We just talked about the structuring component. How do you feel like, as a parent, what can you offer to a mother who may be sitting on her couch right now watching us and probably in a position to where she's frustrated? Because it comes from every angle, especially when your child is excelling. She's frustrated because now he's in a situation to where he tore his ACL. He tore his ACL, and the phone has stopped ringing. What would you tell a mom?
I mean, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You have to be prayerful, and you have to always have a plan B and a C. And that's what I said. Our situation is a little different because we don't talk about Mama made it or when my son makes it. That's not the conversation we've ever had. If Dylan was standing here right now, he'll tell you that we don't talk about that. Just last month, we had a conversation, and I was telling him that we were talking about a couple of his teammates, and he said, you know, Mom, you said something to me that my friends were talking about the other day. How many times their moms call them and say, I don't know how I'm going to pay the light bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. He says, we're here trying to stay healthy. We're here trying to get an education. We're here trying to keep our mental state at bay.
Right.
And my mom is on the other end saying, I don't know how I'm going to make it. He says, I want to thank you because you've never said that.
That's big. Kim, share with me your viewpoint on that. A kid is in a situation now, once again, ACL, blew his ACL. The phone stopped ringing. How do you handle it?
You got to have those plan B's, C's, and D's. I mean, you have to. That's real talk.
Yeah.
That's real talk because every little kid who's on the field or on the court is not going to make it. More likely than not, they're not going to make it.
But he's going to buy me a house. You said it.
Yeah, but no, you can't.
Buy yourself a house.
Yeah, you got to do it
I have a great
yourself.
question for you. I have a great question for you. Let me ask Kim this. Who do you think should get paid when payday comes? Do you think that youth ball coach that when you had to work 2 or 3 jobs, that picked your son up, took him to practice, if that was the case, do you think that coach deserved to get paid? Because some of them feel like they deserve to get something.
So get paid from who? Or from?
I mean, they should be a part of the payday.
From the student athlete?
When he makes it, if he makes it, all the way.
Okay.
I don't know. You said no?
I said no. I mean, I said it's the athlete's prowess and skills that brought him to that place. Now,
So
if
we
he
give-
so
we give no
chooses
credit to that
no,
guy
no, no,
who
no, I'm not
said-
saying no credit. I'm just saying payday. So it's up to that athlete, the product who's signing the contract to decide.
I see Miss Ivy over there. She's looking kind of.
I just think that coaches, if you're going to coach, you have to understand why you're doing it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
to me, when
Right.
you're doing this AAU,
Right.
and especially in this climate that we're in now, you're getting something because
Right.
you're building your brand and you're building your business off the back of that child's athleticism.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you receive your benefits.
I always think these are the unspoken things that never are talked about.
Mhm.
You know, if this kid doesn't come back and give to the program, does he get the label that he didn't keep it real?
But see, that's more pressure on the kid too. So people have to realize when you're putting all this pressure on the kids, that's messing with their mindset.
Right.
So they're not going to dominate them, feel like they could and should, and you may not ever get paid because you're putting that extra undue pressure on him
Right.
before it's even payday for anybody.
I
My
love
thoughts
it.
are different.
Also, like I said, I have a different mindset on that
My
too.
thoughts are different. Let me hear this.
Here's my thought. I always tell people this. You have a kid for 4 years. If you don't make an impact to make him want to come back and give back, that's a
Exactly.
reflection of your
That was
coaching.
exactly what I
So
was
y'all
gonna
have
say.
y'all have mutual.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to
influence
say
on
what
it.
she said because at the end of the day, why are you helping the child? I've seen it. There are coaches that will leech onto a mother who has a student athlete who they think is going to make it to the next level. So that tells me your intentions are not good from the beginning.
Bad
So,
intentions.
Bad intentions will
Good,
ruin it.
good motive, bad intentions.
Time out. On top of that, they take that student athlete, they put him on flyers. You
Right.
use him to get other athletes for your program. That is
Exactly.
your benefit. So you're receiving your benefit for you coaching this kid because now you use this kid to advance your agenda.
Right.
I believe in the future. I believe in the future. But I tell you what, man, today has been a great discussion. I've enjoyed this tremendously. You guys have given some great viewpoints, some great insight. We got into some good dialogue, man, about, this great topic. And I just want to thank you all for being here this afternoon. And I just
you
want to
for
give you an
having us. Thank
opportunity to share. Where can I find out more information about everything that you have going on?
Social media, I have my company, Instagram is the You Takeover on Instagram.
The You Takeover.
Also, you can find out a little more personal things about me and my children from Instagram as well. _ Moses Boys Mom 77.
Good deal.
I knew you were going to ask that question, so I came prepared. So Facebook handle is @OmbiGroup. IG is OmbiGroup LLC, and Twitter is @OmbiGroup. And you
Spell
can
it out
always
for us. Spell it.
OmbiGroup, O as in octopus, M as in Mary, B as in boy, I as in igloo, GROUP. Or
She's
you
a
can
lawyer,
visit us at
you hear it.
www.ombigroup.com.
So you can go to my website, which is alvionbrule.com. That's ALVIANNEBRULE.com. You can purchase my book, Dear Football Mom, off of Amazon or my website. You can purchase Tips and Truths for Student Athletes on Amazon or off my website. And all of my social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, is the same, which is @Alvion Brule.
Okay, good deal. Well, I love you all, man. Y'all
Love
my
you too,
friends.
Aaron.
Y'all my,
Thanks for having
my
us.
friends.
Thank you for having
And I
us.
look forward to seeing you guys continue to go on and do great things, man, and continue to help us tell the great stories about our youth and make sure that we're creating the next great generation of great people.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll be back on this All About the Youth, baby. Y'all heard it from their mouth. They did it. We'll be back.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Caleb Derensburg, center.
For guys like Caleb, let's light up the neighborhood.
Do you need to say great job, congratulations, or way to go? Crown Trophy on Sherwood Forest Boulevard in Baton Rouge has the trophy, plaque, acrylic, or crystal award you're looking for. Whether it's for your team, business, or church, come to Crown Trophy. We guarantee the highest level of customer service and there's no charge for rush orders or trophy engraving. We're nationally known and locally owned. Visit us online to view our catalog at www.crowntrophy.com.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide. For guys like these, let's light up the neighborhood.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
At Roadrunner Towing, we love our God, our children, our nation, and yes, our sports. So let's play ball. Score big when you need a tow, either in East Baton Rouge or West Baton Rouge. Because at Roadrunner Towing, we don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide.
Dylan Evans running back.
For guys like Dylan,
Yeah, baby.
let's light up the neighborhood.
Joe, watch out. Joe, and we're back live on It's All About the Youth. I am your host, Aaron Sutton. Hey, man, why are you laughing? You heard at the end of the show. You heard the ladies.
Because they don't want to leave the stage.
They don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave. They have a lot to say.
It was a lot to talk about, man.
But you know me. So I'm over there sitting and I'm thinking I'm a business mind. So the first thing I was like, I got a power team. That's a company I need to start.
There it is.
So
right there.
that's the company I'm about to start. But I do want to say, Kimberly Haynes, I do feel bad the fact that I didn't get invited to the luncheon, NFL luncheon.
You want to go to Miami?
With all this, no, I'm talking about Nashville. I didn't even get to go to Nashville.
She was there. She was in Nashville.
Yeah, she did
That was-
Nashville.
I mean, we should have
So
been.
all this knowledge that I have, I'm just saying.
Hey, man, next
but
time.
I do agree with the ladies. No, coaches shouldn't get paid. Why?
Hey, I didn't say I agree with it.
The
But
reason they do this to help the kids out.
if your heart is in the right place,
Exactly.
If your heart is in the right place, you shouldn't have to worry about a financial side of it coming from it. But I will say this: if you've been put in a better situation than you were, meaning a player,
You saying by a coach?
by a
Or
coach,
by a situation? Or by, okay.
right? And you see that player riding in a tap rack bang. You know what I mean by a tap rack bang? He got a tap on it. He got a tap on it. Bang bang to get. Come on, man! You pull up to practice in a 2020 Maserati.
Go ahead and tell the truth.
I mean, let's call it what it is, though. 'cause
Coming
I mean,
through,
some
coming
things.
through South Baton Rouge in a Maserati,
I mean,
in every car there is.
You showing up at practices to show off your automobile, and you know the struggles and the sacrifices that have been made to make sure that the program is successful, and to make sure that you had those things. You don't think it's fair for that guy to look out for that coach?
But this is the thing, and I believe
You don't think it's fair?
Wait, I understand what the ladies are saying, because I've always said it. I have two jobs, one for my benefits and one for my blessings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out there with the kids because of my blessings job. I'm not out there for my benefits. My benefits is over here. Me as a man should be going out there and making sure I have what I.
Well, on my benefits job, I'm taking my benefits money and paying for my blessings.
But that's your blessings, though.
I'm paying some of my benefits for my
But you
blessings.
again,
I'm
you chose
sharing.
it.
I
Just like the child didn't. You asked the child when you didn't.
Not me.
But a lot of other coaches go out there and ask the child to come out there. So the
Right.
child probably wouldn't even been out there.
Or sometime the kid was doing something that he had no business, and the coach stepped in. Because I got to play devil's advocate in this situation. The coach stepped in and gave a kid the opportunity to save his life. You know, they have a lot of situations like that.
But the sad thing about it is that every coach should be coaching that kid for the next level, not thinking about 3 levels ahead. He should be thinking about that next level. So a lot of times, those kids who have those false hopes of thinking that going pro and the mom and all that stuff there, it's because some coach has not told them correctly that I'm just coaching you. If I'm a youth coach, I'm coaching you to be a high school player. If I'm a high school coach, I'm coaching you to be a college player. And if I'm a college coach, I'm coaching you to be an NFL. If I'm a youth coach, I'm not coaching you to be an NFL player. So I'm not going to give you that false dream. I just want you to be the best at the next level with the skills that you have.
Instilling the foundation
exactly
for what
building
it takes to get to the next level. So
and that's where we lose out of, because a lot of times that kid wasn't taught to be a good high school player. So when he get to high school, you'll get him and he can't even put his hand in the dirt. He don't even know what a 3-point stand is.
He's doing crazy
Or
things.
you have to write left and right on his hand for him to actually know which direction he's going or where the holes are.
Yeah, it's a challenge, man.
So it's because it's sad if you get to high school and you don't know your holes.
You believe it or
not. So
not.
that means that your youth coach didn't teach you anything.
Right.
He just directed you.
So you look at a reflection. I'll talk about that all the time. Aggression. You have a lot of coaches that confuse aggression with teaching execution. You know, and so you teach aggression versus teaching execution, and you think you've come up with a great coaching remedy.
Well, we always talked about this. In youth sports, it's about a chess game. How many talented players? If I have 9 athletes and you have 5, a lot of times I'm going to beat you unless you are coaching.
Right.
But most of the time there's no coaching going on. Is that I'm just taking that kid's athletic ability at that age. If he's a athletic 8-year-old, I'm going to take that athletic 8-year-old and we're going to beat your unathletic 8-year-olds.
Right.
And now I'm beating on my chest like I'm a super coach. No, if I'm not teaching this kid, because when he becomes 10, 12, or get to high school to your level, and there's a monster like I'm 6'5", and you 6'5" now, and now I got to play off of my abilities and not off the fact that I'm bigger than you, it's a different game.
When talent meet talent, skill has to kick in.
Exactly.
Technique gonna have to take over. So at the end of the day, I always look at this, man. This subject today was near and dear because it was good.
Yeah.
Talking about, we deal with kids in the community.
And all of them not going to make it.
And everybody's not going to make it, and we hear it all the time.
We talk about it in our senior games. We tell them, and we tell anybody, we're not making major league players.
No.
Our goal is to make a major league citizen.
That's it.
Because, and I said it one time before, not just the fact that I started with my son, but my thing is I want to be at an ATM and they be like, oh, that's you, Coach Leroy.
Yeah.
And realize that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Right.
I want them to be better citizens because out of the 3,000 to 4,000 kids that we work with, 99% of them are going to be back in Louisiana.
Period.
Doing just basic stuff. Some of them are going to be great. They're going to be lawyers, doctors, but they're still going to be back here in Louisiana. That 1% is going to go out and be a professional athlete. So we're coaching not just that 1%, we're coaching that 99% on how they're supposed to do. See better, be better. So if you go out there and take the money from your job to give back, their concept, and one of the ladies said it, if you instilled in them that, look, I sacrificed money from my job, from my household, because you have.
Yeah.
You have sacrificed money from your household to give into those kids. Then when they get older and they're that doctor, that lawyer, that waiter, whatever they may be, they should be giving back on their blessings. Not because out of obligation from I owe the coach.
Right.
Obligation that it's time for me to be that next level.
Definitely.
To be that next
So
level.
I always look at big picture like we just talked about. The big picture of the box, outside of the box, is when a kid is in a situation and the only thing that they can think about is I got to help my mom, I got to help my parent. That's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. But on the flip side of that, sometimes that's their why. That's their why. Why do I go out here and work so hard at something that I may be good at, but I mastered and become great at it because I found my why of why I want to change the epidemic or the social economic background of how my family structure was.
But I want you to think about this. Professional sports, a professional athlete, that's the only job occupation that your God-given ability is your physical ability.
That's it.
Everything else can be learned. So why are we not pushing them to be smarter doctors? I mentioned it earlier on the show. If I want to be a biologist, I would read about biology. I would talk to biologists. I would be around biologists.
All the way around.
But we're not doing that. On the sports side of it, it's all physical. If God hadn't blessed Miss Moses' kids to be big kids, now I do have some sales. I put in the freezer. So if you ever want to make that super child, I have some stored that he's going to be smart and he's going to be 6'5". I'm just letting you know now, Miss Moses, with those genes, it's in my DNA. Miss Murray, I'm sorry, I'm calling Miss Moses.
Miss Murray, yeah, okay. I didn't.
I'm sorry, I saw the daggers coming to the stage, but the thing about it is, why are we as coaches not coaching education as well?
Well,
if we know that 99% of those kids are not, and that's why I'm glad about J.K. Haynes being on here, because we're going to work with them.
It's not the glorified part of it. Just like film watching. Why don't we start it at an earlier age?
I know, but how many funerals have you been to?
I've been to 8. I've been to 2 this year, burying kids.
So is that the glorified? Because
no,
apparently we're missing something. We're doing something wrong.
I keep saying that.
So we need to start saying that, hey, something else should be glorified in what we're doing.
Right.
I mean, and I'm taking on the brunt of it as well. I'm doing something wrong. I need to evaluate.
So when we look at it, we have all these town hall meetings, but we're still on the front line. If we wouldn't do what we're doing in the community, if we didn't do those things, what would happen to the majority? See, that's still a small percentage that we're losing. It's still a small percentage based on the volume of kids that we're dealing with.
Don't get me wrong. Now, that's just the far end worst end of it. We're doing a great job. Yeah. No, we have success. We have.
I can go on and on.
We're averaging 30 to 35 kids a year getting Division I scholarships.
Right.
But that's great. Mm-hmm. But still, those kids who are not getting those Division I scholarships, we need to have something in place that's going to work with them.
Character building of men is what we focus on anyway. That's the structure. If people want to know, Louisiana Youth is really Louisiana Youth football, Louisiana Youth baseball is really about, all of our programs is about character building of great, quality, productive, good citizens. So when you look at a program that we roll out, whether it's all about the youth, everything that we do, it's about building quality, productive, good citizens. I'm tired of that stereotypical approach that you have to look this way, you have to be like this in order to fit in the box. We don't have to fit in the box.
No, we don't.
Believe it or not, I like not fitting in the box. I do it on purpose.
What we said, if we're not getting invited to the table,
we got to build our own table. That's what we're doing now.
That's what we do. We build our own table.
Right.
But we need to go back and make sure that those kids know that we're actually here, not just for the sports side of it. Sports is just a character.
It's only a carrot, baby.
Yeah, sports is just a carrot.
Because everything else we do is all about the youth. I promise you.
Again,
stay tuned, man.
Stay tuned us.
For every Color Rush jersey purchased, the NFL donates to youth programs nationwide. For guys like these, let's light up the neighborhood.
It's only entertainment.
Not entertained. Are you not?